So this is the second video for section 2.1, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division properties of equality, and we're going to talk today in this video about the addition and subtraction properties of equality. Let's see, get a pen, that one works. So we're going to talk about the addition and subtraction properties of equality. So we talked about that and that already, so here's the slides that we're going to talk about, addition and subtraction properties of equality. In other words, if we've got an equation, we're going to be able to use addition and subtraction to find a solution. So we need to get a solution. That's ultimately our goal. Sometimes, though, we need to go through intermediate equations, and we do that by using addition and subtraction. In this slide, we're going to learn about addition and subtraction. Next slide, we're going to talk about multiplication and division. But we're going to essentially start with this equation and get to this equation, and these two equations are equivalent. Because they are equivalent, then we'll go through one of them to get to the other, and we can use these together. So in order to solve an equation, like I said, if we're going to solve an equation, we've got to get our goal of x is equal to a number. In other words, if I say solve, you tell me what x is equal to. And we do that by by using addition and subtraction to get to an ultimate goal of finding our solution, x is equal to. So here's our property, addition and subtraction properties of equality. Essentially the same thing, but the addition and subtraction are just different by subtraction. Essentially, if we start with a and b as algebraic expressions, a could be a number, a could be something like x minus 1, b could be something like 2. So if a is equal to b, then if we add c, this is the addition property of equality. If we add c to either side, if we add c to this side, then we have to add c to this side. It's a lot like kids at Christmas time. If a is equal to b, if a has the same number of gifts at Christmas, and you say, oh, I want to get another gift for a, and you add one more gift to a, you have to also add one more gift to b, kid number b, or kid b, because ultimately they're going to take a look under the Christmas tree and say, you know, he got more than I did, she got more than I did. So if a is equal to b at the very beginning, then you have to, if you add 1 or 2 or some expression or some number to what a is getting, you have to also do that same thing to b. So if you add c to a, you have to add c to b. Same thing holds true for subtracting. If we subtract c from a, we have to also subtract c from b, because they are both equal. We've got to treat them equally. So what does that mean then for our properties? So if we've got p minus 4, here's an equation. It's two expressions, p minus 4 and 11, separated by an equal sign. So that gives us an equation. If I say solve, you've got to tell me what x is equal to. So if x is equal, or in this case p, what we need to do is we need to use the addition and subtraction properties of equality. Here we've got a variable minus 4. In order to get rid of the minus 4, we do the opposite. We've got to add 4 to this side. If we add 4 to this side, then p minus 4 plus 4, when we add up these two parts, p minus 4 plus 4, the minus 4 and the plus 4 cancel each other out, and we have the variable of just p on the left side. But remember, this is a property of equality. So if we're adding 4 over here, we've also got to add 4 over here to this equal sign, because we've got to keep these equal. So 11 plus 4 on this side becomes 15, and we put the equal sign between them. There's a 15, sorry. So p is equal to 15, and there's our solution. P is equal to 15. If we double check our work, we put 15 back into the equation. 15 minus 4 does equal to 11, and we've double checked our work. Same thing holds true for another example. Here's an example. W plus 5 equals negative 2. If I say solve, my directions say solve. If we're going to solve the equation, we do the same thing. We say, well, I've got w plus 5. I've got to do just the opposite. I've got to get rid of that plus 5, because I want just w by itself. So if these two terms are separated by addition, we've got to do the opposite function. If it's addition, we subtract. And we've got addition, we've got to add 5, we've got to subtract 5. If we subtract 5 on the left, we've got to subtract 5 on the right, because that's a property of equality. That's the property of equality. So w plus 5 minus 5 on the left side of the equal sign, the plus 5 and the minus 5 cancel each other out. The variable w is just left by itself. The equal sign is here. Keep things in columns. And the minus 2 minus 5, or minus 2 plus negative 5, gives us a minus 7 or a negative 7. And that's our solution. We should double check it by saying, put w minus 7, or w equals minus 7 back into the equation. Negative 7 plus 5, and does it equal to negative 2? Negative 7 plus 5. Does that equal negative 2? Negative 7 plus 5, negative 2 equals, with a question mark, negative, with a question mark, negative 2. Sure enough, it does. So w equals negative 7 is a solution. More examples. If I've got v minus 7 equals negative 2, I've got subtract 7 in my original equation. I want to get rid of the minus 7. I add 7 to that side. The property of equalities tells me I've got to treat them equally, so I've got to treat both sides equally. V minus 7 plus 7 gives me just v, the variable on the left side. Plus 2 plus 7 gives me plus 9, or just 9. And there's my solution. I was told to solve the equation. Solve means isolate the variable on the one side, everything else goes to the other. V equals 9. Is that a solution? 9 minus 7 equals 2. Sure enough, 9 minus 7 equals 2 equals 2. There's our solution. So there's the property of equality, addition and subtraction properties of equality. When we've got a variable and we've got something added to or subtracted from it, we just do the opposite of whatever we've got. If it's v minus 7, we add 7 to both sides. If it's p minus 4, we add 4 to both sides to get a solution. If it's w plus 5, we subtract 5, do the opposite of the plus 5, which is subtracting 5. Subtract 5 on the left, subtract 5 on the right, and we get a solution. So there's the addition and subtraction properties of equality.